Good morning, everyone. We feel very welcomed here. Thank you, Sharon. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So taking a breath, the theme for March 2021 is open to possibilities. The topic for today is living in the question, a high idea. Ernest Holmes wrote in Science of Mind, page 146, God's creative power of mind is right here. We have as much of this power to use as we believe in and embody. The storehouse of nature is filled with infinite good, awaiting the touch of our awakened thought to spring forth into manifestation in our lives. And James Allen wrote, dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. And so as we breathe that in, let us reflect on this affirmation of truth as we say it together. My life is the embodiment of Spirit's highest idea of itself as me. And breathe that in. Wow. And so now it is my honor to take us to, as we prepare to receive this wonderful message from our inspired and inspiring, beautiful and beloved spiritual director, Reverend Dr. Kathleen Johnson.
Thank you, Carolyn. Oh, that was read with such heart. I could feel every word and the meaning of it. Thank you so much. So this month is an opportunity for each of us to step more fully into our spiritual magnificence through the practice, a spiritual practice that we hold near and dear to our hearts. It's called visioning. So I would like to ask you a question. At what elevation is your vision the best? Michelle?
I don't know, Reverend Kathleen. What?
Sea level. Here's another one, okay? What do you call an enlightened optometrist?
I don't know, Reverend Kathleen. What?
A visionary. So yes, a visionary. And how absolutely perfect that not only is this month about visioning and this particular day about living in the question, a high idea, but this is also New Thought Day. And the thing about New Thought that many of you already know, but I'm going to be sharing this for the people who are new to our community, is New Thought. You know, it's something we use a lot in this community. And it stands for a spiritual movement that was birthed in the United States and actually spread through Europe back in the 1800s. A spiritual movement that focused on the power of creative thought and our oneness with the divine. And it actually, to this day, stands for as like an umbrella organization. There are all kinds of New Thought organizations. Unity, Divine Science, ours is called Science of Mind and Spirit. There are many others, smaller organizations with their own communities. that are part of this grand international movement, spiritual movement that has touched every level of our culture. And The Secret is a really good example. That movie, The Secret, is all based on New Thought, Ancient Wisdom. And so New Thought actually means that we are inviting you to live in the field of all possibility and all potentiality, to invite a new thought for who you are and for what life is, and a new thought of what the divine is, to continue to live in the questions, those mind expanding questions that take us to the next level and that support the evolution of our consciousness. And that not only touches us individually, it touches us collectively. So it begins with the idea that there is one ultimate visionary, the divine, one ultimate creator, out of which this universal mind of infinite possibilities and infinite potentialities that we are an individualization of, and that we are fully connected with and one with or one of. And so living from that place, we are encouraged to be possibilitarians. I love that term. We're encouraged to be possibilitarians, to stay open to possibilities. And that prevents us from getting stuck in our stories, right? And moving beyond that and into a new way of being and seeing. So that's a little bit about New Thought, but also how it fits in so perfectly with today. So I want to talk about three different things and really help us deepen into the understanding of these. The first one is the difference between visualization and visioning. The second one is about curiosity as a way of being. And the last one is collective evolution. So all of these fit into this concept or this spiritual practice of visioning. So first of all, let's get things cleared up about the difference between creative visualization and visioning, because there's a big difference. There's a big difference. Creative visualization is and many of you have done this before, is when we get an idea of what we want to create, and then we focus on it, we get the feeling that we're doing it and we're being it, and it comes into being. And that's a great practice. It's a great way of getting our training wheels for spirituality going and getting things taken care of in our world so that we have some stability. And yet it's limiting. It has its limits, because it tends to draw from what we have in our experience or what we see others have in their experience. And it tends to hang out more in the in just this kind of limited idea of life. Visioning, on the other hand, is a spiritual practice very close to, it is like a contemplative type of meditation. It's a way in which we go into the silence, we open ourselves up to the flow of inspiration that comes from way below the conditioned mind, that field of all possibility and all potentialities that is the universal mind, that is outside our current awareness and outside our understanding of ourself. So it draws from something really deep and allows us to open to unimagined possibilities for our lives. It's a very sacred and powerful practice, and it's a methodology. There's a method to it that has evolved over time that Reverend Michael Beckwith introduced some time ago, and has been enriched by some of his followers, like Ray Jordan dedicates her whole, she's a religious science practitioner. She dedicates her life to this refinement and support of people in the visioning process. Visioning then is living in the question, these mind expanding questions, like what is God's highest idea of itself as my life? What are the possibilities for my life? And then the other parts of it, which are so important, is what is it that I must release to align with this high vision? And what is it that I must become in order to align with this vision? So these questions then are questions that allow us to move beyond our current condition and into a whole new version of ourselves. And so it's always about personal transformation ultimately. And it's moving from conditioned mind to cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness. Michael Beckwith put it this way. He said, "Are you asking the universe for what you want, or are you open to receive the fullness of life that you are?" Want, are. I'm going to say that again. Are you asking the universe for what you want, or are you open to receiving the fullness of life that you are? That reminds me of seek first the kingdom and all else shall be added. Kingdom, or heavenly consciousness. He said, from this place of staying in the question of who am I, unimagined possibilities begin to open up as you synchronize with the divine. Unimagined possibilities begin to open up as you synchronize with the divine. I want to illustrate that from our own direct experience in our spiritual community. And I know I was a real participant in this one. When we did the visioning for our new spiritual home, which is now CC Arts, we were in Woodmill at the time. Zoning issues became, were actually because of zoning issues, we had to move by a certain date. And so here we are, it's the end of 2019, we're moving into 2020. We have a month to get the new space all ready. And you know what unfolds after that. But the key to all of this is how we ended up there, which is the visioning process. We were visioning in 2019, collating our results, looking at what the major themes and qualities were of this new place. And yet there were many of us, I was one of them, who wanted a place of our own 24/7 that we could either purchase or rent, right? So I am so grateful that we did not find that place, considering what happened in 2020 and what's still occurring right now, which is, COVID hit, and suddenly we were no longer in our building. And while our membership has continued to grow, our finances aren't quite what they were the year before. But however, CC Arts did not charge us rent for the time that we were not there, which was just beautiful. And they can continue to use it in their own way. So we were focused on what we wanted instead of who we are. So when we finally let go of what we wanted and open to possibilities again, and remembered who we were, which is people who trust the process and people who look at the vision and see what the results are, several of our members received the guidance to check out Center for Creative Arts. And that ended up being a beautiful match to our vision. It was an amazing match to our vision. I don't want to go into the details of it. Many of you know, there's so many matches. It was just mind-blowing. But we had to let go of what we wanted in order for the vision, the contents of the vision, the guidance that was coming from a deeper place to be made manifest in our lives. What a great awareness. What a great awareness. And what I have noticed from all of this is that while we have many clear examples of miraculous, tangible results from visioning, what really delights my soul is that is what we have become as individuals and as a spiritual community through the process of visioning. What we've become is very cohesive, very filled with loving kindness. We're people who know how to have a great time. All you have to do is join one of our board meetings, and we have the time of our lives, and we still get the work done. We still do what we're supposed to do, but we laugh a lot. We have a great time together. Transformation, spiritual transformation is in every aspect of our spiritual community. There's amazing creativity that's taking place in all the different parts of our community. We are so full of grace as a community, so full of gratefulness and purposefulness and compassion. And what we have become then, to me, is the most delicious part. And I think many of you will agree who are part of this spiritual community. So visioning then is so much about what we become. And of course, when we become larger in consciousness, bigger hearts of love and compassion and joy, then what happens is we attract more of that good into our lives. The next topic I wanted to talk about is curiosity as a way of being. So I want you to just notice how you feel when I say the following or ask the following questions. And just notice, are these questions you sometimes ask yourself, in the silence of your own mind, or maybe out loud? Why is this always happening to me? Anybody have that thought? Notice how you feel when you think that thought. How about this one? Why is this so hard? How about another one? What's wrong with me? Or what's wrong with you? Those questions leave you feeling not so great, right? I mean, I'm actually I'm underestimating how it makes us feel. We contract. We become stuck. Our field of possibilities is narrowed down. So I'm inviting you to let go of questions like that. They keep us stuck in our stories. They keep us stuck in our conditions that we don't want. It's time to move into the field of curiosity. Curiosity, that's what is the quality of being open to possibilities. I'm curious of what other possibilities there are for my life instead of focusing on the old condition. And so notice how you feel when I ask these questions. What is the highest idea of my life? What is the highest idea of this project that I'm up to? What am I to release to align with this amazing vision? What am I to become to align with this amazing vision? And there are other similar questions. What's another way of looking at this? Any of those things that keep us in the field of possibility. So I don't know about you, but I feel pretty expansive when I think those kinds of questions. I feel hopeful. I feel free. I feel enthusiastic and excited about life. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to be, living in these mind expanding, heart expanding questions. It activates curiosity, and curiosity is that thing that keeps us vital and alive and loving life. Just a beautiful quality to cultivate. So if you're curious, then you're willing to be surprised by what you discover about yourself and life. You're willing to be more interested in your spiritual growth than arguing for your limitations. And we grow through curiosity. We grow through curiosity. And so here is something I'd like to pose to you. How will curiosity serve you when you're meeting a challenge? Think about that. staying open to possibilities when there's a challenge right in your face. It's so much better than those other questions that I shared earlier. So here's an example of when a challenge strikes and living in this place of curiosity. A teen group was putting on a car wash to raise some money for camp. And they made a sign that read, "Car wash for camp." And so on a particular scheduled Saturday, the sky clouded up, the rain started pouring, and the teens were there as the rain started coming down. And one of the teens became very curious and decided to make another sign. And the sign read, "We wash, God rinses." And you know what happened? Business boomed. So living in a place of curiosity in the face of challenge can make all the difference in the world, because we are amazingly creative beings when we open ourselves to this field of possibilities. The final thing I wanted to talk about was collective evolution. If you ever wondered what's driving your desires, is it ego, is it the conditioned mind, or is it spirit? Here's a really simple way to keep that straight. Ego desires come from fear. That's it, from scarcity, from the insatiable desire to have more stuff in order to feel worthy. Spirit's call comes from love. It's an interest in the abundance, the creativity, the freedom, and the well-being of all beings, includes our planet. It's a much bigger place to come from. The more we practice visioning, the more we can let go of our personal agendas and align with cosmic consciousness to experience a life of flow and manifest our desires, which are in tune with the highest good for all. Yes, the highest good for all. Wayne Teasdale, one of my favorites, in his book called Mystic Heart. This was a book that I read in ministry school that really expanded my perspective, because he was a Catholic monk who was really into interspirituality, he called it. He hung out with Buddhists and Hindus and Muslims and people of other spiritual traditions to expand his consciousness. And he said spirituality serves as our greatest single resource for changing our centuries-old trajectory of violence and division. Spirituality is profoundly transformative, he writes. Visioning is profoundly transformative. It is a form of expanding our spirituality and our collective awareness. Helps us to stay committed and connected to collective evolution of consciousness. So we are here not just to manifest our personal desires. We are here for a collective purpose. We're so interconnected, and that is the way we say it in our community is to be the presence of love, co-creating heaven on earth, a world that works for all. That's a collective purpose. The whole New Thought movement from the mid-1800s was not only about personal transformation, it was involved from the get-go with social justice, the women's movement. The women's movement was full of New Thought women who had been activated by New Thought, realizing that they could envision a better life for themselves, where they voted, where they had a say. And they used that. And yes, it took a while for it to happen, but it did happen. The vision became manifest. And every movement since then, major movement for civil rights, gay and lesbian rights, the LGBTQ movement, have all been supported by the New Thought movement, because we get it, that we are all one, that we are all the same family, that our uniqueness, the uniqueness that we bring to the planet, is an awesome thing that we want to celebrate and honor. So we, my friends, and I'm just gonna hop on the back of or on the tailcoat or whatever you call it of Swami Beyondananda, Steve Behrman, who came a couple weeks ago. We are the imaginal cells. We're like the imaginal cells in the butterfly. I love that word, imaginal. You know, it makes me think of the visionary. We are the ones who are the visionaries. We're here to catch that higher vision from that deeper place within, in order to not only evolve ourselves personally and as a spiritual community, but to transform consciousness on the planet. It sounds like a really tall order, but you know, my friends, with God, all things are possible. So I would like to just take a moment, invite all of you to drop into the silence. We're going to do a very short visioning experience, just to give people a taste of it who've not done this before. So take a breath, yawn and stretch. Drop into your hearts and breathe. Breathe deeply and sigh, letting it go. Dropping into the silence and consciously dropping below the conditioned mind into the field of infinite possibility and infinite potentiality. And so I ask you to ask yourself, what is Spirit's highest idea of my life? What is Spirit's highest idea of my life? And then listen reverently, listen deeply. And if you have paper and pencil around, you're welcome to jot down some notes as things come to you. They could be thoughts, they could be pictures, they could be things that you hear in your own mind, they could be feelings. Just jot down whatever comes through. And then the next question I'm going to be asking is, what is it that I must release, surrender, let go of in order to align with this high vision, this highest vision in the mind of Spirit? Again, jot down what comes through. What must I release, let go of, surrender? And then finally, what is it that I must become, embrace, in order to align with this highest vision of myself? And so let's begin to bring that to a close with a deep and full breath, remembering that we have entered into not only the field of all possibilities, but we have made a commitment to transform consciousness, our own consciousness, to show up more fully as those magnificent spiritual beings, full of love, full of peace, full of joy, full of creativity, full of solution. The new universal human. And how good that is to know that that is what is our true birthright, the visionaries, the ones who lead the way for humankind. And so I give my thanks for this clear awareness. And so it is. That's just a taste of what a visioning session is like. And you know, every aspect of our community has been a result of visioning. And we are even now, have a visioning core. There's 6 of us who are dedicated now to meeting once a month and visioning for our spiritual community, staying open to that field of possibilities. And, you know, I welcome you to do this for your own life as well, and notice the difference that it makes for you. So again, James Allen said, your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. So dream big and dream well. And just know that I love you and I am behind you every step of the way in the fulfillment of your dreams. Namaste, my friends, and so it is.